Hello everyone and welcome back to Cruel and Unusual Storytime with your host, Simon Dexter. Guess what's not lost forever after all? Yes! Staticforests Scraem, your other and actual first suggestion, finally gets its time in the sun. And Terrence Young, if you're watching, I have seen your suggestion, and that will be our story for next week, so sit tight. Now, I have very little to say going into this, because it's a lost episode. What else can I say? If only I could have been more truthful to my past self in saying I wouldn't read a lot of these, but they are unfortunately very popular, and still manage to get different points out of me to piss me off. Also, a big extra thanks to Secretly Red Pants and Lodi Baloney, who approached me through comments and various other means for finding the story elsewhere for me. You see, Creepypasta Wiki, you can't hide shit from me. If I can't find something, my viewers will. So, sit back, relax, and mildly enjoy the Fairly Odd Parents lost episode, Sweet Revenge. Okay, so I am a huge Fairly Odd Parents fan. Do these websites not offer italics? Could someone who writes creepypasta for these websites please tell me if they do not offer italics, because I see no other reason why they have to use caps lock on any time they're trying to use an inflection. I watch it whenever I can. Lately, however, I have been really busy, so I missed a lot of the new episodes in Season 5. What a crime. Once the box set came out, I wanted to buy it, but I did not have enough money. Luckily, one of my friends, who also was a huge fan of the show, had let me borrow his copy of the set so I could see the episodes that I missed. Good friend. When I had first picked up the box set, I faintly noticed that the Nickelodeon logo was missing from the front cover. Your eye for detail is very exquisite, I guess. I did not really let it process through my mind, though. Well, I wouldn't either. It's kind of a very small detail. Over the coming weeks, I slowly watched the episodes whenever I could. When I was about to finish it, I noticed something odd. There was an episode numbered 21. And all the seasons, including this one, ended in 20 episodes. Is that true? Is this really? I'm looking it up, and you can't stop me. Wikipedia. List of Fairly Odd Parents episodes. And reading from top to bottom. Season 1, 7 episodes. Season 2, 14 episodes. Season 3, 18 episodes. Season 4, 20 episodes, you got one right. Season 5, 21 episodes. That seems rather normal if that's the season you're on. And we do have a couple of other seasons with 20, with one 6-episode season and a 26-episode season. You, my friend, have just been Simon Dextered. Good for you. Anyway, since we've disproved that immediately, we can go on knowing this is bullshit. As if we didn't already know. The 21st episode was titled Sweet Revenge, which actually sounds like it could be a good Fairly Odd Parents episode. Just me. I attempted to Google the episode to no avail. So as you can guess, I played the episode. Well, obviously, how else are you going to learn about it, am I right? The episode began in near crystal quality, almost better than the others. How do you get better than that? On the bright side, they're going in the opposite direction than what I usually complain about, so I guess I should shut up, right? It opened in Timmy's bedroom. He woke up, his fairies greeted him, etc. It was very similar to the previous episodes, like any episode ever. About 1 minute into it, he went out of his room to go downstairs. About 5 seconds after he was down the stairs, his dad walked through the front door with a blood-stained machete in his hand. Goody. Timmy, about as terrified as I was at this point, screamed. "Dad, what have you done?" he cried, shaking nervously. I can't sound like Timmy Turner. I'll never be as hot as his voice actress either. Oh. His dad mumbled something, but I could barely make out anything except for the constant Berg. Dinkelberg! My mind was too freaked out to process that. Oh, my mind was too freaked out to process that. I should wear my glasses, turning into a you fool moment. His dad walked normally, but with a criminally successful feeling, across the living room to the kitchen. He wiped off the knife. It was a machete 5 seconds ago. Ah, I guess he told me about that, didn't he? I was warned. And placed it back in the cabinet as if nothing had happened. Well, okay. My mind wanted to stop the episode, but I kept going, because why the fuck not, right? The episode cut to the next scene. Simple. Timmy was playing anxiously in his room, with the expression like he had just seen a ghost. The camera shot switched to an angled shot so I could see out of Timmy's door. I vaguely saw the shadow of his dad, walking down the hallway with a machete in his hand. It's a machete again. Wasn't it a knife? Make up your fucking mind. Cosmo quickly warned Timmy, and they attempted to poof away. However, Timmy's dad, having burst through the door frantically, tried to get his son. Oh my god. He threw the knife at Timmy. Is it a knife or a machete? Oh my god. I thought it would do it this much. But horribly missed, and instead gouged out Cosmo's eye. He's a fairy. Couldn't he have poofed away from that? Couldn't he have magicked something, turned it into a rubber duck? Anything? I guess not. Cosmo lets out a throat-shedding scream as blood poured furiously. How do you know they bleed? Don't they turn into, like, sparkles or powder or something? I recall that in one episode. Then again, I'm a bit over the hill. Wanda somehow oblivious. I love that phrase, somehow. Oh my gosh, okay. What just happened to Cosmo? Poofed away. Because that's totally what Wanda would do in that situation. She wouldn't have fucking killed Timmy's dad. That's what I imagine would happen anyway. Timmy, having been teleported to downtown Dimsdale, tried to find a telephone to call the police. Upon picking up the payphone, he suddenly heard a voice. It was his dad's voice, but his tone was demonic. Because demons are scary. Petrified, he shut his eyes and tried to wake himself up as if he was in a dream. Before he knew it, he could not reopen his eyes. It seemed as if his eyes were melting. What the fuck? Why is this happening? Where did we go in this situation? The blood from them formed a devil's pentagram inside his eyelids. What the fuck? What is happening? The episode switched scenes. Timmy woke up in bed as if nothing had ever happened. Oh, thank God, I guess. His fairy godparents, sorry, I tried to say the title. The fairy godparents were not there to greet him, but he could hear the sounds of Wanda's crying. When Timmy looked over to her, he could see what she was crying about. The machete was still in Cosmo's skull. Wasn't it a knife? Blood was oozing out, a pool forming under his head on the floor. Timmy glanced outside to see his neighbors impaled on the streets by a giant stake. He warned you, Dinkelberg. He warned you. Without warning, his eyes became bloodshot red, and binary code flashed across the screen. Binary? Really? Why? Then the ending credits showed. I hastily looked up the binary code, which I'm sure is super easy. Actually, it probably is. What do I know? I'm not read up on binary code. Ugh. To horrifyingly discover what the message was. He was first, you are next. When you see the red light, you will die. Later that day, I read in the newspaper that a lunatic impaled 3 people. I was so scared my brain almost stopped working. Because that's how it works, I guess. I could not sleep at all that night. The next day, my parents had to literally force me to go to school. That's pretty basic for most people. Eventually, after being nearly dragged there, I was straight to feeling the effects of not sleeping. I decided to close my eyes for a second. Oh, please let this be a Freddy moment, please. I suddenly saw an incredibly bright flash of red light. I can't express the fear I felt from seeing that light. When I tensely opened my eyes, I saw the friend that lent me the set almost killing himself with laughter. Oh, and there's some more. Aftermath. Sorry, I really have nothing to say about killing himself with laughter. I don't get it. Aftermath. During that faithful day I watched my friend's box set, I felt bad about those events that happened to me. What happened to you? I finally told my parents about the time I watched Sweet Revenge. My mom invested in a therapy session. I told the doctor of what happened to me. He said, if you ask your friend to lend him or her box set a show you love, just say no. That's your only decision. Why? Explain. Explain. I think you should follow my therapy doctor's warning. If you don't want to suffer the same thing that happened to me. What happened to you? Well, that was the Fairly Odd Parents Lost episode, Sweet Revenge. So, I have read now 4 Lost Episode creepypasta, if we're counting the banned episode as well, which I am. I see a little difference between the two. And I think this is literally the only one that has left me this speechless, just because what even was that? What was wrong with this? Just utter nonsense. I'm serious. I can't even form words to truly explain myself. Like, was that a troll pasta that I just read? Granted, it almost wasn't bad enough to be a troll, but it gives a few hints, like, the consistently changing the weapon from a machete to a knife every other time it's mentioned. Like, seriously, if it's mentioned as a machete once, it's mentioned as a knife immediately after. There are no repetitions ever in this. But I guess, And even with that, what even was there to this story? It was slightly more linear than most of the Lost episodes I've read. Granted, that doesn't make it better by any means. A few things that are just questionable are, like, what even was this episode from? Like, I actually almost missed the creator mysteriously wanted to fuck up his or her show premise. Because, I mean, that at least tries to make some subtle ounce of fucking sense. It was just there. Also, all seasons have 20 episodes. Fact. That wasn't even a good reasoning to why the episode was out of place. Especially seeing as Season 5, the one I'm assuming you were watching, as you brought it up the most, had 21 episodes. That's another thing that kind of leads me to believe this is a troll. But that's also such a subtle thing, no troll will be intelligent enough to use it to piss someone off. Unless they were after me specifically. Curious. And there were just other things. Killing himself with laughter. What does that mean? Seriously, what does that mean? Oh, and nothing happens to the protagonist. Period. They saw a scary episode and something happened to his or her friend, and that warranted therapy sessions where a doctor says, hey, don't accept your friend's kindness when they want to lend you something you've been dying to see. Just the ineptitude of the characters and the absolute nonsensicalness of what was happening leads me to believe this story wasn't meant to be taken seriously anyway. And in that case, good on ya, I guess. But it is my, quote, job to take these things seriously and tear them apart. And if it was meant to be taken seriously, wow. Just wow. You got a ways to go there, Slugger. Well, I think that about wraps things up. In the end, this Lost episode earned its own confusing place in the Hall of Storytelling Infamy. Thank you, one and all, for joining me in yet another cruel and unusual story time. You're all beautiful. If you don't know it, go look in that mirror, and if that's not good enough for you, use your imagination. I usually don't give the next story away, but with how far behind I got because of not being able to find this story, I feel it's necessary to make it very clear that a suggestion left on this episode will not be until after Terrence Young's suggestion of the Rugrats theory next week, in a very special episode, if all goes according to plan. There, now I've said it, and now I can't get out of it. But definitely don't let that detract you from leaving suggestions. If you have a story you truly feel needs to be given the Simon treatment, just leave them in the comments, and I'll get to them as soon as possible. You have my honor. Remember, the worse the stories are for me, the better they'll be for you. I'll see you all real soon.